Hello, this is Pomona Remembers, and this is Saturday Nights Alright for Talking. And guess what? I have a collaboration coming up. It's my very first collab, and I feel super duper excited about it. I'm gonna hold on to it for a little bit. I'm pretty sure everything's pretty firm, but I want to allow this person to take the lead on our collaboration simply because they have done it far more than me. So, today I am talking. Right now, I'm in my dirt hole, and here's the reason why. The reason why is this is a place where I get to ground, and I feel really, really close to Mother Earth. I feel like I'm encompassed by her in this spot. And it's close to my garden. And it makes me feel happy. Now, the seasons are changing, and we're coming to the colder season of the year. And so therefore, I'm not going to be able to be out here very much, if at all. Depending on the day, depending on the weather, depending on how bundled up I am, is sort of how it goes. And so, I got bare feet today. I might not be able to do that tomorrow, who knows, but today I have bare feet, and that makes me feel happy. And so what I thought I would do for this Saturday Nights Alright for Talking is I want to do a little bit of a correction on my bears video about something, and then I want to add on a little vision that the Spirit gave to me a long time ago that helped me to just sort of see the world in a completely different way. It totally changed my paradigm to the point where I could forgive like pretty much everyone. It set me free on a path. And here's the thing is I have to keep reminding myself of that vision. Sometimes when we get a little stuck in our egos, and we get a little bit hurt feelings, and we get a little bit ruffled. Our feathers get a little ruffled. So, I just have to think back to those things that the committee has shared with me, and it really, really helps me just to chill out. So I'm going to share a little excerpt. So it's like a little bit of a couple of stories in one podcast sort of situation, and not like a stream of consciousness. I would love to also talk to you about when I knew that my ancestors were talking to me, how that all started, when it all started, who did it start with. And so I'm going to actually write down the big ideas so that I make sure I don't miss anything, and hopefully also we avoid any kind of rambling and goings on. So there's that. So I wish you all love and peace, joy, presence of mind and wisdom, the ability to hear from your spirit team in a very clear way. And yeah. The other day, I was talking to you about the bears. Kept having visions of bears. And I asked my darling if he would please pick up the apples off the ground, off of that were falling from the apple tree. And he was in the backyard, and he was bent over picking the apples and throwing them in a bucket, like a Home Depot bucket or some sort of, those bigger buckets. And all of a sudden, I had a vision. I had a vision come through, and it was of a black bear coming over through my neighbor's yard, over the fence, into our yard, and eating the apples from the apple tree. And you know what? It was like so real. And I said to my husband, honey, please make sure you have Winter outside with you, because I see the bear coming over into our yard. And he just was like, oh, I don't think they're going to be coming in here. And I was like, babe, I got a real good vision. Oh, that's another reason why I always check my work, is because he always tells, like, he's been like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm sure. So he's getting better at that too, like listening. And yeah, so that's the other guy. Are you sure about that? I feel very sure. He's been really good at checking my work with me. So so the other night, he's in the back working in the garden again, and I decide to go and pick up apples off the ground, but I do not bend over. I use a little rake and a scoop, because my back would I wouldn't be able to be as effective, so I have to make modifications. So I am working around the apple tree, and I noticed that the bee and pollinator grasses and plants are all bent over and dying. Like, I don't understand what happened. It's like they've got crushed or something, and then they just started to die. Like, so I didn't quite understand what happened there. And then there was another patch of the same stuff that was absolutely fine. Like, it looked like something had laid down there, and I didn't pick up on what that was. But I just was like, oh, that's really weird. And then I went around picking up apples of all different sizes, and then I saw these apples that they looked like they were bit clean in half. Clean in half, and then just part of it left in, like on the ground. And I was like, huh, that's really weird. That's not normally how these things go. Usually the wasps get to the apples in the last few weeks of their lives as they're rotting, and then they get drunk, they get hammered, they go out in style, these wasps. But anyways, this is not what it was. This is different than before. And I was like, huh, clue number 2. And then I walk around my apple tree Betty, and there it is, the proof I needed to show my love that my vision was indeed true. I had 3 blues clues for him, because there were claw marks in the bark of the tree. So, perfect. I was able to prove my work to my husband, who didn't really take my vision, like, seriously. He's like, I'm sure it'll be fine. You know how men always are like, you'll be fine, don't worry about it. And it's like, I'm not worrying about it. I just want you to be safe and aware, okay? I'm going to be in the house, not being mauled by a bear. See how it works? I say the things that I see, and then you get to be aware, and then, mm, you know, safe. That's how I feel like it goes, right? That's how it's supposed to go? Is this how it's supposed to work, right? Anyway, so I call my love over and I say, look at this. And I show him the scratch marks in the bark. And then he's like, what? I was like, I wonder if that's what happened to the grass. He's like, you think the bear laid down there? I'm like, well, it's all crushed down. He's like, that makes sense. And then he just started like, I was like, oh, and some of the apples, they just look like they were bit in half, not, you know, how the wasps normally eat them. So he went through my bucket of apples and he pulled out the apples for proof. And he's like, huh, okay. And then he just stood up and he walked around and he looked over the fence and everything, inspected some things, and he came back and he's like, yes, I'm sure that's what happened. And I was like, thank you for helping me get a clear and concise proof and an answer that what I saw in my vision actually was true. Evidence, right? You need to have your evidence because that's just how it is. Okay? So, lots of bears, lots of bears, lots of bears, lots of bears. Okay? And I I felt it was important to clean up the apples the best I could, for the bear to not be drawn into the backyard, because you know what, that's what we're supposed to be doing, is cleaning all that stuff up on a regular basis. So we try to keep on top of it. But those bears have been pushed down the hill, and if they try to go back up the hill, the grizzlies are going to destroy them. So our little black bears, we need to take care of them. The other weird thing that happened the other day, I bought this shamrock. I have to laugh sometimes at the way things come out of my mouth. Okay, so this is sort of going to be, I'm going to just, this is just like an amendment to some different things that I've said that when I was listening, I was like, oh, that's silly. Just correct that. So, I'm going to tell you a little story about my shamrock bracelet. Um, I lost it, and I noticed that I lost it over at my sister's house on one day. And I said, oh dear, I guess I may never see that bead again, but if it's out there, I'd love for it to come back to me. And then I just left it at that. And then I went over a few days later, over to my mama's house to have a little bit of a visit. And my mom comes over to me with this little bead. It says, this is yours? Is this yours? And I was like, yeah, that goes to my shamrock thing. I lost it. She said, yeah, you didn't even come here. I didn't know how it got here. How did it even get to our house? This makes no sense whatsoever. And I said, well, I don't know. Maybe it caught a ride in somebody's bag or something. Like, I don't know. But then she swept it up in the kitchen. So, and then our youngest said, maybe it's the Fae. And I said, maybe it's the Fae. I don't know what to say. There are so many things that just happen that are so random and weird like that, it's hard to not pay attention and know that there are others trying to communicate with us on a regular basis. On my Saturday nights, I'll write for talking, for September 2nd. I was talking about Christmas time, and I said how everyone could hear. And then I was talking about a cacophony. And now I was also talking about all the sights. And I was like, I hope that like, it sounded like I assumed that everybody can hear. I have a deaf cousin. My husband has a deaf cousin. I obviously know that not everybody can hear, but I also know that not everybody is totally deaf. So there's differing ranges, and they can hear a little bit sometimes, but it's also that noise that is too much is sort of what I was talking about. And the visuals that are like overloading you. Like you feel like a canary trying to drink from a fire hose sort of energy in moments like that. Or that's how I felt. So that's what I was trying to get across, but it didn't come across as clearly as I would like it to. And then there was another something that I was laughing because I I said something like how like how can others not see all these things? So this is the thing, is I was told my whole life that I could do everything that anyone else could do. I grew up with a lot of severe learning difficulties that were undiagnosed, and so it's the growing up thing and the having to figure a lot of stuff out on my own, that sometimes I say things wrong, and it's just because I haven't learned it yet. And sometimes I say stuff and it's like, oh, that's a little overgeneralized and stuff like that. And it's because I felt like we all kind of had the same brain. We all start sort of the same. And um because of things that I was told as a child, like I could do it like everyone else can. And so I thought there was something fundamentally wrong with me for a very long time, because I couldn't do what everybody else could do. My brain was really different, but I thought that there was something wrong with me, not that my brain was a divergent brain. Okay. So sometimes I'm going to say stuff that's like a little bit of a generalization and things like that. I want you to know I'm very much working on how I present things. Sometimes it's a little sloppy and dramatic, because I came out of the childcare um, world, and you have to be a performer when you are working with children to keep their attention, to um, keep their interest. You have to follow them. And when you're doing a good job, you follow them and you follow their lead. And sometimes you have to, get really big with your stories because they don't have a very long attention span. So when you're a childcare provider or a parent, you're always trying to like keep those kids. Well, my goal was to keep them feeling well loved, well fed, well, like all of those hierarchy of needs. Plus, I wanted to teach them as much as I could in an entertaining and beautiful way, so that, hopefully they would uh, catch a love of learning from a very early age. And if there is a problem or whatever, that maybe um um it wouldn't affect their self-esteem too much, because when they were with me, they were learning and having fun. And being silly and using their whole body and all of those things. I've worked with teaching children with learning differences as well. I've worked in childcare for a very long time. And so creativity, spontaneity, silliness, goofiness, uh, like big comfy couch, Mr. Dress Up, Mr. Rogers, Mrs. Doubtfire, um, uh, the Adams Family, Jacques Poupin, just it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot of stuff going on, and if you're into any of those things, I would love it if you would join me. And yeah, I'm looking for my Anam Cara. Anam Cara need only apply. Well, I got all dressed up, hair and makeup, even a crown. Got real quiet and I listened to a few different psychic mediums that I follow. It's always funny when I watch those. I get hits like my spirit team throw in extra little sprinkles of information over top of what they're saying, and I kind of get like confused, like, should I share that information, or like, because it feels like well, I guess I am sort of, I'm just riding the same energy wave that they were on, and as I was tuning into their energies, my spirit team threw in more information, and that's what's been happening. That's sort of like when I watch specifically ones that have like questions and kind of my spirit team will answer me. It's almost like they're like real keeners on Jeopardy is what it's like with my committee. They like smack that button and they're like just throwing out the answers all the time, like before, like see if they can get it to me faster than what the psychic has said or says. So it's very interesting that way. So I was thinking about life and the shenanigans that are happening around us. And I was thinking about the one person who's done a lot of emotional damage in my life, been my harshest teacher, like sort of, I don't know even how to explain it, but I was thinking about them, and it's the same picture always comes up. It's like we are all but souls in a play, and we all decided what roles we were going to be in each other's lives, and how much did that, it sounds so weird, but when the spirit guides said it to me, it just like released all of this negative emotion and pain. Maybe I'm just a simple person, but I just came here to do my very best and show up and bring happiness and joy to people. So if what my spirit guides say to me, ruffles your feathers, I need you to really, really feel into that and not throw stuff at me, okay? This is just what my guide showed me. I am just the bringer of the message, okay? So there is respect to be shown. Kindness will only be responded to. Anything less than that will be ignored or blocked. Okay, so just putting out the boundary right now. Okay, so there was one night I was just ruminating on this wound that just refuses to heal between me and this other person in my life. And it's not for my lack of trying. It is not for my lack of basically turning myself into a pretzel for somebody. And the moment that I decided that they were gone, that I was cutting the cord between us, was the moment they all of a sudden started asking about me or whatever. But before that, they were, not cool. So I was crying and talking about my sad heart. And Spirit just showed me this picture. And it was a giant stage. It was backstage. And there was a giant red velvet curtain. And we were a troupe of actors, souls that had traveled around in lifetimes together, choosing what role they were going to play in each other's soul's journey. And some of the scripts had really, really hard lessons that required very, very heavy evil. And pain. And you knew that in that lifetime, you and your friend, the actor behind the curtain, the part of your team, the part of your soul group, were going to hate each other. Absolutely hate each other. And have a hard time forgiving. And I was like, well, why would they do that? Why would we agree to this? And Spirit showed me and said to me, they said, only the strongest of loves could handle such a separation. How much does that soul love your soul that they would agree to be your malefic force in your life that just grinds you and forages you and like drives you. I'm not saying it's okay. Like, this is pretty freaking horrible. But to be able to just look at it, to detach from all of the noise and all of the feelings and all of the stories and all of the time and all of the space and all the misunderstandings and all of those things, if you just dropped all of those things to the floor. And you just got down to it. The truth of it. We're in a story. We are playing a game right now in this mortal coil. The true us is what is inside of us. And in that moment, and at that moment, I was able to 100% forgive and love that person, or at least their soul. And then I get amnesia and I forget, and then, pain steps in sometimes, and I have to go back to my guides and say, hey, and then they remind me of the play. We came down here to feel. Whew. Did we ever pick a hard feeling game? So, with love and gratitude to my Anam Kara, all who find my voice, I send you love for your healing. May you find joy in this life. May you bring heaven into your space, even if it's minute by minute. May you anchor love right where you live. Ta-ra. Thank you for listening to this Saturday Night's All Right for Talking podcast. I thank you for your time. Please consider showing support by subscribing. I will be giving away a half-hour reading to somebody with within the first 1,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel. You will be put into, and then we will do the, you have to put in a message so that I know that you want to be in there, and then we'll figure out from there. So please and thank you, s'il vous plaît. Please do all the things, I guess. And until Monday, I'm sending you all my love to my Anam Kara. Ta-ra!